Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the one, the only Reaction Time podcast. We're back. We're live in Technicolor. Um, Steven is full of brand as usual.
It's
Uh,
merch season.
as usual, we open with the shill. Steven, shill.
Go to the funky store. There's stuff there. You should wear it. It's almost thick boy fall or fat boy fall. So you want to make sure you get your summer t-shirt so you can look good for summer where you can
Okay,
barbecue.
did you just say it was almost fall? The damn equinox was a week ago. What?
well,
Sir,
I guess if you
I'm calling
identify
you out on that. No. It is summer. No.
No, okay. It's not okay. Well, it's hot girl summer, so you need your t-shirt.
It, basically. Eric, how are you celebrating Hot Girl Summer?
Um, that's a brilliant question. I'm eating a lot of ice cream. That's
Yes.
what I'm doing.
That's very
I
respectable.
walk, I get frozen custard, I walk back. Yeah.
That's
Gotta
so
get
he'll be
calves-
ready for
gotta get
fat
those
boy
calves in
fall.
good shape. No, but he's walking there and back. It's at least a neutral. Appreciate it.
Hey, I gotta respect the grind.
It could be so much worse.
I could just have it here at home all
It's
the
true.
time.
All the time. Anyway, we're here not to talk about ice cream or Hot Girl Summer, but we're here to talk about the old League of Legends esports as we so often are. We are going to be focusing this week more teams across three primary regions. Eric and I have failed at our LPL watching for the last couple of weeks, so we're not going to bring you too much LPL content. But I'm actually pretty up on the LCK for once. And we've got some NA and some EU for you. So we're going to hit all three of those, and we're going to start with everybody's favorite LCS action. Uh, let's start with Cloud9. I'm going to ask Eric first. Eric, what's broken about C9?
Um,
Yes.
Honestly, it does seem like there is still a disconnect in playstyle and strategy between Blabber and Perks. And I don't know if it's a fixable thing as far as how they approach the game. Because we saw them with King. They brought in Sven. They look better with Sven, but that's because they had benched the best ADC in the league. So now that they have the best ADC in the league, or before playoffs, I should specify, best ADC in the league outside of playoffs back on the roster, then they'll look better. But it has nothing to do with fixing their core issues, which is some weird communication chutzpah with their MVP candidates, all of them.
Steven, I know you were focused on the ADC change and change back. What did you see in King's play, and what did you see with Sven back?
Um, I, I think this goes into like a confidence play because Sven is dependable and known is a known entity with this team. And I'll piggyback off of what Eric said. It's just like Blabber looks his best when he can play his game. Perks also looks his best when he can do whatever Perks does, what he wants to do. And I think either there was a hesitation with King, because I think King did fine. I don't think he wasn't playing egregiously. He was just being an AD carry. And whatever is going on, I think it's a synergistic thing. I think Vulcan played as well as he does with Sven. So I nothing's really standing out to me besides like Perks and Blabber are not showing the best that they can do. So whatever is causing that, I'm just chalking that up to comfortability and that power dynamic between. Because I'm looking like a lot of the kills on the heat maps for Cloud9 is in the top side jungle. Kind of they do a mid dive under tower and then they do stuff top. And if they're not comfortable leaving their bottom to just exist, then they're not going to do that stuff. They're not going to be aggressive in those plays. So I'm assuming that now that Sven is off punishment, that they will go and be more comfortable leaving that bot lane alone and being more proactive in that top side.
They even had jokes in coverage last week about when Perks and Fudge swapped lanes at like 6 minutes, that Perks knows that Blabber prefers to gank topside, so that's why he went up there. Was specifically to get more jungle attention from Blabber. So it's like this is like it's got to be something with how their macro sense plays out and what their players want to do. I really like your call out about Vulcan too, Steven, where it's like freeing him up to roam more, because they just really need somebody else to get a snowball going so that their players can go back into their comfort zone, which is when chaos is afoot.
Yeah, speaking just like I am a top preferential jungler.
It's true.
I like going up there, and to me, and this is my bronze brain. Um, you're able to create the agency in the game quicker, because if you're waiting to do something with a bot early advantage, like your bot lane's not going to be contributing as well as like your top lane. Your top laner can do something at level 3. You're going to contest the other jungler at that. Like most people start on the bot side with their clear, regardless if you're red or blue side. It's just natural pathing to do that early game in top, and if you're successful, you'll keep going back there. So it's clearly Blabber's play style.
Well, and the other thing to consider is the champions being played in both lanes, right? If you look at Sven's pool, so just this last weekend of games, right? Ezreal game, Varus game, Xayah game. Why are you gonna bother ganking that lane pre-6 for any of those three champions? Like, if he's playing with a Leona, okay, consider it. If he's playing with a Set, okay, consider it, especially with Hexflash back in that. But like to a certain degree, like you gank a Varus lane at 6, you get to 6 and then you do it. And like if you're playing a ganking jungler, like if you try to get some early Zinjao cheese going on, probably makes more sense to go top lane, particularly if you look at Fudge's champions. Oh, look, he's played mostly Lee Sin and Gwen, both of whom are very strong at early levels. Yeah, go top lane. It makes sense with the team constructions that are being put together.
Yeah, and even with your support choices you laid out, it's better just to drag the support to mid lane, especially when you're just fueling things into perks. Like a Set or Leona roaming up on first back to the mid lane gank is going to be more effective than trying anything bot lane.
For sure. And like it's with the very swappable solo lane meta we've got going on here, there's often a lot that can be done in either one of those lanes with some roams. Like top roams are obviously less common because of map construction, but like you often have champions with some kind of CC going on, whether it's a Renekton, a Sylas, a Viego, a Lee Sin, a Set. Like there's all kinds of possibilities for gank setup, often in both lanes at the same time, for either your support or your jungler or everybody just to come make party. I've seen ADC dives. We have obviously C9's, scuttle crab preferences that create some weird situations on occasion. But you know. Um do you think we'll see King again this split?
If so, here's my thing. I think if they still can't figure it out, they'll keep swapping them around. I think they will refuse, because you're not going to bench Blabber and you're not going to bench Perks. And they're and it's some kind of team synergy thing, and they think that adjusting the AD carry is going to change that.
I would be interested to see if they try switching in. I need to look at C9 Academies before I talk out.
Niles, or are you thinking?
I think that I would be interested to see if they would put in both King and Isles. Switch the whole bot lane if bot lane continues to be a struggle point, because I think Isles is the other player who would see play. And I'd be interested to see if like should we keep a dual lane synergy together and give that a spin if this is the area we're trying to work with. And I think that that could be just another thing to try. Like I don't think we'll see the Isles and Sven played together a little bit in Academy. King and Vulcan have now played together in LCS, so they've mixed and matched it a little bit. But I would want to see the bot lane with more practice together get time together if possible.
Especially if it is just like we got, because Sven didn't seem concerned with like going to academy for like what was ending up being just a little bit. So it really, really to me sounds like the hey, we're trying to work on this synergy thing. We're just gonna try this and see how it goes. And Sven's like, yeah, I'll just do that. Like whatever you think is going to be best because I don't think it's going to do anything. So I'll just go to academy, clap some cheeks, and come back because it's not me. I'm not the issue. And
As far as role swaps go in NA, this one it felt very calm and like people were more accepting of what was happening.
mm-hmm.
Well, and and part of that is like King has a reputation of being a very solid at minimum academy level player. So you're probably swapping in a worse player, but still, like the drop shouldn't be maybe what we've seen in some other places, shall we say, to foreshadow some other roster swaps we talked about. So, Eric, do you think C9 is going to keep experimenting with this?
Um, I think that they won't make Team Liquid's mistake and actually take out their money player. So they're going to keep the top side consistent. What I would like to see from them, kind of going back to your like sub out the full bot lane, would be could you sub out the full bot lane and then actually play around bot lane? Is that actually what you should do? If you have your top side are three vocal, talented players who want resources. What happens if you put all of them on the side of the map where they're expected to be moving to plays rather than having the plays move to them? Uh, like, will that work? Because all of them have played weak side before to some extent. Try it out. See if that fixes anything. Who knows? Maybe by like no one getting what they want, they actually can win some games.
Well, and the other thing to consider is because of the split structure, they've got a bit of a buffer, right? So top four is kind of in its own area in how the LCS standings have shaken out. TSM and 100 Thieves are top at 21 and 9 each. C9 and TL are tied 2 games back in the overall standings, even though C9's only 6 and 6 since MSI. And then they've got a 3 game lead over EG in 5. So they're in a spot where they've got an entire week's worth of leeway before they would drop anywhere below fourth. So they've got time to get this right over the next 5 weeks. Now, meanwhile, for the other team tied for third right now, Steven, we need to talk about your boys
Oh my
because
God.
it's been weird. It's been real weird.
Can I just say that last draft was abysmal. I have no idea what that composition was supposed to do and how it was like supposed to match up with TL's like synergy, like how they play the game. Like an Olaf, Lulu, Lee Sin mid. Oh man, was it Ezreal and it was just like the earliest early game team comp for Team Liquid. On what planet does that work? And
Just the game against TSM.
yes, the TSM game, because
Yep.
it was over quickly and it was just abysmal because you lost the early game on a team composition you don't play and a play style you don't play. And so I don't understand these choices. I really don't. I'm very like
And this is a little bit of a meta conversation, right?
mm-hmm.
Because enchanters have been rising in priority. This is a thing we've seen. I talked about Kog'Maw in the last episode of the show as something that could come out here.
Yes.
TL picks a double enchanter composition with Lulu top and with Seraphine in the bot lane. and you have a Varus, a Lee Sin, and an Olaf as your things to buff up. Now, we've seen Turbo Olaf work. It's happened before. It was a thing, I think, early spring this year. That was something teams tried to do a lot, is just stick all your buffs on the Olaf and let him go kill everybody. But now, like, Jinx is a side meta pick. We've seen Kog'Maw be around. Varus is a strong meta AD carry. I
And
don't disagree
tactical is
with that.
very good with Varus.
Tactical's
Just
pretty good
play
at it.
around that. Why would you
However,
do Turbo Olaf? Like,
however, I don't think Varus is the pick in this composition. Eric, what did you think about this draft?
It was pretty tragic. Kind of even more like different kind of meta. I'm wondering what the state of the locker room was like before this game, because Jat
just
resigned
walked,
like
yeah.
that weekend. So like, was he still in? Was he out? What's even happening? Because there's so much nonsense that's been going on since they benched Alfari that I have no idea, like, what to even view for credit
And,
here.
It's
and
chaos.
they still 2-1 this weekend, right? So
Oh,
it could have been a lot worse. They get the CLG win that they're supposed to get, and they get a win over EG because Jizuke has one of his games that doesn't go so hot.
the
I, I
drafts weren't trash.
I want more of the Nico pick, the end. But you have a team that has had their head coach resign, has their starting top laner out for question mark, question mark, question mark reasons, and has their starting jungler out for health reasons. So you're playing Jenkins and Armeo, who are both quality players. We've seen Armeo perform at almost the highest level before already, and Jenkins, I think, has acquitted himself very well.
Yes.
But you're playing two players down, you're playing a coach down. It should not be that surprising for something to go sideways. The fact they came out of this weekend as well as they did, I think, is a huge plus to the players involved at the very least.
Yeah, and but at the same time, like, set them up for success. Like, I'm sorry, like, I love Armeo two bits. He is a great tank player, and he is a great initiator. I don't know if I've ever seen him stand out on Olaf. And I don't care how well it goes in practice, when you're coordinating two subs with Jenkins and Armeo to make that work. Like, Lulu Olaf, Turbo Olaf is kind of hard to do, because it is like you have to stick in the fight, you have to dance it, you have to like do like basically drain tank DPS with a like I'm not like super thrilled with Jensen's like Lee Sin. Like I don't know. Like it just seems like cold feet.
It's also very physical damage heavy, so like
Yeah.
there's a lot of problems. Like, and so I don't even want to even talk about the comp because there's just so much else that was going on that was wrong.
I agree.
Like, I want to give the players like benefit of the doubt for everything that happened this week. And the fact that they win games is 100%
Exactly,
JJ
because
being
they're
a total
good.
monster.
Because they're good
Yeah.
players. Like, they're good players.
Yeah.
So like I don't give the pass on the comp. I refuse to give it on that, because like you like, you know what? Know your players and their mental health and the state of your team, and give them something easy to pull off. I have
Okay.
big question marks about the staff. And they can at me. I don't care.
And now, like, we don't know.
Yeah.
I know that I forget who they have in serving as the interim coach as Jab's
Cold.
replacement. So they have Cold, formerly Trashy, of many, many years of jungling fame,
Mm-hmm.
who has, I don't think, ever actually held a team head coaching position before. I could be wrong about that. I haven't fact checked if he was like an EU Masters or an ARL team, or has just, yeah, I think he's been in NA most of this time since, but like,
So so he hasn't actually been a head coach. He does have what I would think of like a decent amount of like team leadership experience. Usually though with younger players, like when Splice rebuilt around Trashy in EU, like that was specifically a comp that he was helping to bring up, where it's like he was training Wonder and Humanoid and Kabi, You know, it was a different kind of environment. So like this is him playing with some of, you know, the best players in the league, uh, with much more successful careers. So it'll be more interesting to see
He's
how this one plays out.
and he's a placeholder. Let's be honest.
You know what?
Team Liquid is at a level as an organization in NA and in the worldwide structure of the league that like this is me coming from a traditional sports perspective. Cold's going to be a great interim coach. We'll see how long he's there. They are going to bring someone else in to do that job.
Yes.
I don't know who, I don't know from where, and it might not be until after Worlds, but I don't think he stays in that job unless they like get to World Semis or something. Like it will have to be a miraculous run for him to earn that in the position with the experience that he currently has going into it.
Yeah.
It would shock me if he was there at the beginning of next year.
Now, he did apologize on Twitter, so I have forgiven him after doing some research. He said his tweet reads, "You can't spell interim without int." My bad.
That's it's a fair point.
and yeah, like the draft was bad. Everything else, like you're doing fine. So, but at the same time, like just play your player strength. Like know what your team's doing.
Yep.
And he can do well. He's a really good strategic coach. Like Team Liquid has pulled out some weird stuff and won with it, and they can do good if they didn't have all these problems. Knock it off with these problems.
Speaking of problems, we got time to talk about one more NA team. Let's talk about Dignitas. Where do you even want to start here?
Do we know, like, generally what Dardoch did? Like, is it known? Did he just flame his
Not
team
publicly.
after? Nah, man.
It sounded like he did his team after they got bodied. But like, and it's
They did
more
get
likely,
bodied.
and it's more likely he was actually flaming the coaching staff, because like that this is just after like Yusui had been subbed in, so they're playing with this sub mid laner, and they played a game that looked like trash with like some questionable composition stuff. And then Dardoch leaves that game very unhappy and says some things. So, yeah, it's, and he was one of the players who would really hyped up Soligo when they were early on in this split too. So this to me, like more than even like a disagreement among players thing, sounds like a disagreement between players and staff or org, and
That's
so
fired.
yeah, so
No, it's and the thing with the whole Dart discussion is that Reddit and the internet has got this right. He's an EU player. Like,
that would be really cool.
No, the mentality of an EU player or an EU solo queue player of the traditional reputation is that's been Dardoch this whole time. So the thing that is a real announcement, Steven, you may not have seen this, is that he signed with a talent organization to represent him that is based in London. Like,
Ooh, yeah.
I'm assuming he is done in NA and is just going to go play for an ERL team. Which whoever takes a chance on him, like we know the talent, we know the mechanical talent, we know the in-game prowess, and we know that he's led teams on great runs when he's gotten the chance to. Basically everywhere he's gone before things have hit the fan. And if, say, players have stronger mentals in Europe, as some of your stereotypes about league players may go, he may flourish in a European setting. And like, I don't think him making an LEC roster is out of the question at all.
I don't, especially with their lack of jungle talent.
And if he's willing to go play,
ooh,
if he's willing to go play in Europe or play in an ERL team at the second level to earn his keep back, he can make it back up to the big leagues. Absolutely.
That would I like that's my headcanon now. That's what I'm hoping for.
Also, like, where's my other dig stat page?
I was really pleasantly surprised by how well they played even after the Dardoch benching. Like, to be fair, one of them was against a FlyQuest that just completely fell to pieces.
Well, they were ripped apart.
Yeah. But
auctioned
like,
off.
but like the fact that did got wins even after that benching scenario. Like it proves a degree of strong like mental resiliency, and the fact that it's not just Dardoch who was calling the shots for this team. Like Fake God and Afromu have been doing a lot of work, and have held that roster together even with the sub mid laner, now even with the backup jungler.
And I
So
really
that's
like.
really impressive.
Okay,
I,
let's be clear. They are 2-7 in their last 9 games. Which the
They
last 3 were without Dardoch.
Yeah,
So
they won one of them though.
they won 2 of them. They won the one this last weekend.
Yeah.
There is not a coincidence that FlyQuest has the worst record of any of the 10 teams since MSI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Since MSI.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really do like
That-
Acadian, by the way.
He's good.
I love Acadian.
He keeps getting chances.
Yeah.
Um,
If the meta favors him, he's really, really fucking good.
Okay. We're not going to get to everybody, but real quick, shout out to the CLG comp that worked for a week and then didn't work for a week. The C9 World Special. I love the Vi pick. It's really fun, but clearly teams figured out how to play against it this past
They
week.
they also figured out how to ban champs against it.
And Galio when you're trying to do a dive comp.
Yeah, they started banning Galio. They also played against some strong teams this week, I think. And I have a feeling they'll have maybe more success again next week cuz 3-0 to 0-3, like even if you have a pocket comp is pretty drastic. Like there's got to be other factors at play there.
And the Vi looked really good, has looked fine in the meta. Like, it's worked. That has not been a problem.
Can I ask a question before we get too far away from it? What's with the FlyQuest post MSI? I'm a goon, and I don't know what you're referencing there.
They have lost a lot of games.
Well, yes. Is there not? There's not a known reason for that besides they just auctioned off all their players last year.
It's
Both of their supports suck.
Oh.
Yeah, like Dreams looked okay in their shot in fixing their shot calling like when he came in the end of the last split, but now they just look like a complete train wreck. I think they've combusted. There's been mental boom there. So I don't know. I don't think we can expect this team to stay together for next split. Like it's pretty tragic.
The fact that they've now rotated out everybody but Jose Dioto and Palafox says there is a limited future. Even, like, remember the Johnson hype? Like, even he has been rotated out at this point, and that's not a great sign for the future of this team.
Yeah, and Palafox hasn't looked great, and Jose Dioto's looked okay, and it's clear that Licorice and Jose Dioto were the bright points of this roster, but that they had no map awareness. Like this team has zero idea of how to play the game, which is which is a very fascinating thing for how it was built out, right? Which is you're taking Licorice plus Diamond plus Palafox from the C9 organization, and then you are filling it in with a good rookie native NA ADC in Johnson, and Jose Dioto, an aggressive early game jungler from LAN. So this roster was put together assuming you'd get map awareness, shot calling, and late game decision making from that C9 former C9 core. And it was very clear that this team did not know how to play the game, which really speaks badly on teams that were expecting Licorice to be a senior member or a veteran member. And he's been very clearly tilted about the fact that he has no other winning lane, so teams just turret dive him level 4. So it's very tragic, and I don't think there's a way to fix this roster without like a real dose of veteran injection, like 2+. Like you're gonna need to get an actual shot caller in some role who's actually good, and maybe a coaching staff. Like this almost feels like they need some heavy overhaul there as well.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to do a budget season, and if you don't reinvest after that, like, what are you doing?
Well, so I think a part of that was Jack doing what Jack does. which is like it looks budget, but that Licorice plus Diamond plus Palafox deal probably cost them a ton of money. So
You don't think
I
PoE got him a big buck?
no.
What?
So no, like or not as much of a difference as you might think.
Mm.
And so like this is also Santorin. Like what were their contracts at? And that's one of the things. Like how much time did they have? Were any of them going into free agency? Yeah, they might have gotten some money off of those trade-offs, but then like Licorice had a buyout. Like they had to buy out Licorice and buy the other two, like
Mm.
from Jack. That's in addition to whatever they're paying Licorice, which is still potentially too much. And then like you have all this other crap. Like yes, their roster is cheap, but that buyout money like was more severe than expected. And like a lot of the coaches for the other teams have talked about how this offseason there was a huge burgeoning awareness that in some of these mid-table orgs that you cannot just let Jack stick it to you in these off seasons. Like you have to have some kind of talent funnel
I'm
or
gonna
be
push
willing to
back
look
on
to other
mid-table.
orgs. Yeah.
We're not mid-table here.
Yeah, oh no, they're not.
They were.
But I'm talking mainly like
Yeah.
EG's coaching staff has come out as really talking about this offseason as being a complete travesty. And then like and Peter Dunn used that to get a lot of backing and credit for really souping up their amateur circuit and academy teams. FlyQuest's support staff has gotten a lot of heat recently.
If there is a thing, like I'm not going to talk long about EG, but if there is a thing that I am satisfied with, even with them sitting slightly fifth in the table, not very much above the mid, it is the fact that Peter and Kelsey have done an amazing job with talent development, and there are people that I trust to keep doing that from bottom to top of the organization.
So
Because Kelsey's done a great job too.
they have 3 top 7 junglers in the league in their organization right now.
Contracts is a damn smurf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
Contracts,
is
Sven Skaren, and their Prodigy's jungler is also good. And so like it's and you know, and with Danny coming up too, they're rapidly going to take the C9 role of best talent funnel, which is going to be very scary for these things. Like we're actually seeing with this perks signing in a lot of ways, C9 has fallen apart in their ownership of the league in both like the talent farming with EG taking that, as well as with like direct strategy and coaching with Reaper now joining 100T, who are starting to look absolutely terrifying.
How would that happen?
Yeah. So
I just got a real quick contract stat for you. Contracts walks into the league, plays one Diana game, and is 6-0-12. Here's my stats. Drop them on the table. Pay me. The last note on FlyQuest before we're done with NA, because I did want to mention this when we're looking at standings. If I recall correctly, with the extended regular season into summer playoffs, top 8 makes playoffs. Okay, 8th and 9th is a tie between CLG and FlyQuest at 9 and 21 right now. And even with an 0-3 weekend, it feels like those two teams are going in different directions. And I think the race because they are CLG Fly and Golden Guardians are way down on 7th. One of those 3 teams is making playoffs, and Golden Guardians have the current best record of the 3 of them since MSI by a game. And I'm interested to see if one of those 3 teams can find form. CLG looked like they finally found something that worked for them. So right now it seems like they're likely to get in there. But I think the race for 8th is going to be one of the most interesting parts of the rest of the season, because one of those 3 teams is getting in, and it's who's going to find something that works right enough times to create that separation. So anyway, speaking of finding things that work for you at a given time, let's talk about the LCK for a minute, because your reigning world champion Damwon Kia is having themselves a moment right now. So, Steven, I know you haven't been following this too closely. Would you like me to enlighten you how Tom 1 works right now?
Yeah, because I saw you drop something in our Discord, and I had big
I dropped it
confusion.
in the Discord when it was just a rumor. So we all watched MSI. It was acknowledged at MSI that Dom 1's problem was their bottom lane because Ghost was playing terribly and Beryl was running it down. And there were many jokes about Beryl playing more of his gacha games on his main monitor than his League of Legends game, which I respect because I know my man plays Genshin Impact and I respect that. But you get paid a lot of money to not do that during your games. Um, so they start the LCK season and bot lane continues to be a problem. So they decide to make a substitution, but we don't do this like we do in NA. We do this like we do in EU, but on steroids. So they have Malrong as their primary substitute, who is a jungler who's played in the LCK before, plenty experienced, great mechanics, not the best, no, not known for the best map vision, which was commonly the problem. But wait, you have Canyon, who might be the best player in the world as your jungler. Okay. And then Canyon's second best position is mid, and he plays mid and solo queue a lot. But you have arguably the best mid laner in the world in Showmaker. That's fine. Showmaker's gonna go play bot lane in solo queue for a couple weeks, and that's what we're gonna do. So they rotate Malrog into jungle, Canyon to mid, Showmaker to ADC, and I think they're 4-1 in series since because it doesn't matter.
It's so yucky.
So, so Canyon, like, let us acknowledge this, right? Canyon is the one of these that I'm most impressed with because we know he has great mechanics and has played many, many mechanically intensive champions. Going from jungle to CSing in lane at LCK level is notable. The only person he's gotten really shit on by in lane is Chovy, which
It's Chovy.
you know, and it's been a normal mid lane champion pool. Like he's played Akali, he's played Rise, he's played.
Those are still aggressive. Like,
I think his most played is Rise this split, which is really funny.
yeah, I see. Like, I see the Lulu, and I would expect a higher number on that. It's like Canyon, just like chill, dog. Like,
It's and the mechanics have been there, the decision making has been there, and the thing that has worked about this that I know the running theme to some of the EU decisions hasn't worked is you have Canyon and Showmaker still in the roster. And that's like the brains of that team. It always has been that mid jungle duo has been the coordination and the shot calling and the team fighting prowess of that team since its inception and rise to glory. And what it's looked like is the lanes haven't been as good. Showmaker's had a couple of really bad laning days into better ADCs than him. Canyon's had a couple of really bad laning days into better mid laners than him. But their mid game and late game shot calling is still the best in the world. And they can play their champions well enough in the team fight phase of the game that they still can just win games. They're not losing lane badly enough to lose them games. And it also should be noted in amongst this that Khan is playing some of the best League of Legends he's played in probably about 3 years amongst this as one of the dudes who hasn't changed positions. And he's been awesome to watch, which I did not think he was going to bounce back to the level that he's been playing at during this stretch. And it's one of the main reasons why they've kept winning series. It's because Khan's been awesome.
yeah, I'm looking at their like heat map on their kills. Like, it's all in the
It's
river.
everywhere.
Well, it's everywhere, but it's like there's these huge heat clusters in the river, so you just know that it's like they're just running around, just killing things. That's so funny.
And to his credit, we've talked about junglers not having champion pools that fit things very well. Malrong is really, really good at Rumble, and he's really, really good at Diana. And that happens to work really, really well right now. Like he's been in his wheelhouse with the jungle champion pool very clearly. He has the highest KDA on the team. He in their last series, I forget who it was against, was the person popping off. It was against Hanwha in the third game. He was remarkably fed on Diana and just deleting people left and right. and he's been better than I remember him being on previous teams that he played for. So it's been good to see him slot into the roster because obviously, like the other players have at least been playing. Malrong's been sitting on a bench for a year or two now. So they're a fascinating team to watch right now because yeah, like Canyon has 6 real mid lane champions in his pool. He's he's doing it. Showmaker's played mostly Ezreal, which everybody knows how to play, but that's fine. Like Eric, have you had a chance to observe any of hilarious new Dom 1? Do you have thoughts?
I watched a couple of the early games, um, and I totally agree about the shot calling and the fact that that remains the same. We'll have to see if the laning gets up to snuff by like Worlds, because that'll be the big telling point. Is can Canyon and Showmaker survive in lane when they get to the World Championship, where they'll potentially be up against some of these LPL teams that have absolutely obscene laning stats, and making sure that they're in a good spot for those matchups.
Like,
Because you
I think this Dom 1 team can make it out of groups at Worlds.
Yeah.
As this roster of 5, I think can make it to Worlds through LCK, and can make it out of groups at Worlds.
It really does.
However, however, I do not think they're going to win Worlds like this. And there's always the same question in the back pocket that C9 has, right? Like, Ghost is taking some time off probably to get his mental right. Is there going to be a time when you bring Ghost back in and put everybody back in their best spots, and is it fixed when that happens?
insane.
Because that's kind of the thing hanging over all of this possibility, right? Is like Marg's been playing awesome, which is good to see. But Canyon is one of the best junglers in the world. Has been for a while. And like there's got to be a time here where I can't imagine they go through without putting Ghost back in at some point. They're gonna try it again at some point with their normal roster. And as it stands, like it looks like they're gonna be in the market for a new ADC this offseason.
I'm obsessed. Sorry, I found these heat maps on Game of Legends, and I'm really fascinated with them. It looks like if Showmaker can handle the bot lane, they would be really unlocked, because it looks like a lot of the kills are them outplaying under tower dives, and a lot of the deaths are them getting just like pressured down there. So it looks like they're intentionally trying to push on this bot lane. That seems a little bit out of comfort. So if he can become like an AD carry to reckon in lane, like I don't know, this is a really strong looking concept.
The other hilarious thing they did, I got to figure out which game it was, is Showmaker played Karma in a game. I think they played Karma. I forget what went with it, but it was they just if we can make bot lane mages work. Oh, I'm just playing one of the best mids in the world in bot lane. It's Perks again.
AD carry brand, let's go.
Yeah, but if you're doing some dumb like which game? It was the second game against Hanwha that they won. Beryl played Senna and Showmaker played Karma, so it was Karma Senna was the lane. And like if Beryl can play Senna, okay. Showmaker's a world-class Karma player. That makes a lot of sense with this team comp. Why wouldn't we do that?
That's rude.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
more
me.
likely to be tanks or enchanters bot lane than mages right now.
Yeah.
Mages have been nerfed into the dirt, so but yeah, the point remains that like there's a lot of like fun things you can do with the map.
The other two good jokes about this Dom 1 roster that I'm going to steal from the cast because they were excellent is if you give Canyon Rise, Canyon's all about map movements. He's really good at that. You just gave him a mage that is all about map movements. Let him use Rise ult and do Canyon brain things, but he's the Rise. And also, enchanters are somewhat in meta, right? You know what's great for Dom 1 when enchanters in meta? It's harder for Beryl to int when you put him on Yuumi, which is what they did, and he had a great game. Yuumi, the champion where you can play your gacha games while still playing League of Legends. Jokes go here. So anyway, yeah, the LCK Dom 1 is by far the most interesting thing happening in the LCK. They haven't quite been the best team in the league at this point, but they've been good enough to stay top two. Nongshim, who I talked about 2 weeks ago, have maintained an excellent record and are tied at second at 4-2. And Genji haven't lost a game yet. They've looked awesome. Ruler is probably the best AD carry in the world. That matchup's going to be a problem for some people. But the middle of the LCK table, there are 6 teams within a game of each other, including Dom 1 from 2 to 7. There is no way to figure out who's going to come out of this right now. It's a great time to watch the league. And Genji's really good at the end. Shout out to the Genji sticker on my computer. Let's go Genji. Anyway, that's enough Korea talk. Let's talk about the other league of role swaps in the LEC. Eric wants to talk about SK.
Kind of don't. They look tragic. I
So
feel
bad.
really, I feel really. They find okay. So they did get a support. So like, I give. I'm starting to give Jez a little bit of credit for actually benching himself when it didn't work. And hopefully it was him convincing the org that they did need to get an actual support player to play support. They still look tragic. Tinks in the jungle has not worked. It looks really bad, especially with this meta where he's not playing engage champions. Like, you don't play engage in jungle really now. It's these like pressure ganking junglers or doing other things, and they don't look good, and it's really bad. Blue's back too, and Blue still looks bad. It's just bad all the way down. They're the worst team in the
Well,
league.
and this is the general problem with the LEC as it looks right now. 6 teams make the playoffs in the LEC. Okay? Astralis and Schalke and Excel are all already 2 games down on the big chunk of 4-3 teams. And based on the form of all of the teams involved, it looks like that gap is going to continue to get bigger for the rest of the year. There are only 6 teams. The 6 teams that are in the playoff positions right now are the 6 teams with positive gold differences. The other 4 teams have minus 100 or more gold differences. Like, it is a pretty freaking clear 6-4 split right now, and I don't think that's going to change.
The only team that has a shot is like Nuke. Great. Excel has still looked really bad, but like maybe they stand a shot of catching the ground. But with Misfits starting off so strong, they lost one of the top seeds that they could maybe knock out of playoff contention. Surprisingly, the weakest of the top 6 teams in EU right now is G2.
Hilariously.
Yeah. So good luck with that one.
Like the teams tied at 4-3, who you might be trying to take over at fourth, fifth, and sixth are G2 and Mad Lions and Vitality, who just beat at least one of those teams.
Yeah, and so and Mad Lions is doing that thing that they did at the start of the last split too, which made me question if they'd make playoffs, where Karzi's just running it down every game. So it's pretty clear at this point that he just does that after they win splits. So like,
Celebratory ending.
yeah, so like I have full confidence that Mad Lions is making playoffs and is just like, doing their victory lap for a bit. But like, man, they make it hard when he's doing this.
Well, and G2 is going to do the thing they do too, which is the problem. Like, I have every bit of confidence that G2 is going to make it to the playoffs and then probably win at least one best of 5 because they're G2. But they kind of look terrible right now.
I don't have the same confidence in G2 actually. They've lost their magic mojo. They're more Fnatic than G2 now, and it's not good Fnatic. So like they need some kind of intervention, like serious intervention, like maybe a new top laner. And I don't know if that's gonna come in time for them to actually make it out of this split.
Yeah. Yeah. I like. Okay, let's go here. Misfits is 6-1, top of the league.
Yeah.
and have spectacular. Vethio has a 13.5 KDA through 7 games. Kabi
It's
has a
really good at
10
assassins.
KDA through 3 games. Are they going to stay there for the entire split? Do you have
So
confidence that they will stay ahead of probably most notably Rogue, who is only the 1 game behind them?
No, I don't think they'll stay out of Rogue. They're definitely making playoffs just based off of strength of their start and the fact that their shot calling is good enough that they're not going to drop games to bottom of the table teams. Um, the catch will come in playoffs for them, where like they are heavily favored by this meta, where Vethio can play assassins in mid lane and where Razork can play AP assassin junglers. He's an Echo one trick, by the way, who now gets to play Diana and Rumble in the jungle. This is a very good meta for Misfits as a whole. They are a strong team, but like I'll need to see what the meta in playoffs looks like, and also to see how they handle a best of 5. Because like I trust their shot calling with Vander, I trust their individual mechanics and stats on champions that are in their wheelhouse. I just question how they'll hold up if they get into a best of 5 scenario, and then they start really getting pinched.
I think this week is going to be really telling for them. They have Mad and G2 this week, and neither Mad nor G2 have been in great form, as we have discussed. However, it if there is a time to make a statement as the previous champions of Europe for both of those teams, this is a good time to do it against this team's trying to come take your crown. So if Misfits 2-0 this weekend, I'm going to be a lot more convinced by them. Their only loss so far is indeed to Rogue, and I'm interested to see if there's going to be more cracks coming in there, because I trust Rogue the most of any of these teams again. And yeah, like their 6-1 start has been great. I want to, like, if they finish this 8-1 and beat everybody except Rogue, I'm going to be a lot more convinced by them, at least in the regular season. Best of fives, I think, is a great question moving forward. Steven, you have an LEC team you want to talk about?
No, I'm just glad that Fnatic is actually working out. Hey, you know what? They're looking pretty right now.
They're a
So.
great team to watch at 1.5 speed, man.
Hey, they don't have the slowest games in the league.
Oh
That's the
no.
Nuke Duck team.
Oh no,
Oh
no, no.
man.
It's they're fast games, but it's like it's it either goes really well with Fnatic or it goes really badly. And so you watch it 1.5 speed because after you get to like the third kill in that game or the fourth kill in that game, you know what's going down. and then you get to decide how much you want to be invested because it is 100% the Bwippo Hilly show. They're dragging Niski around by his collar, like, all right, Niski, here we're diving again. Show up.
But why?
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
I'm here
uh,
now. Oh, that went
and there
okay.
is no question on which direction this team engages on the map. It is in, and it is in, and it is in, and that is the direction you go. Sorry, Upset. There are no options.
Well, and this and the Fnatic thing is, like, if anything goes sideways for Misfits right now, Fnatic's going to be tied for first at the end of this weekend. Like, they play Schalke and Excel this weekend and are probably going to end the first half of the split on a 7-game winning streak because they have not lost since week 1. Because those other
Like,
teams
where
are
else do you
bad.
want a team to be? Like, for real. So I'm just like, I.
Look, watching Hillsong on a team that knows how to work for Hillsong is one of the best things in League of Legends.
Hold my hand. We're
Only got
going.
only got to
Hold my
do one
hand.
thing well, and it's go in, and I love him for it. And when the team goes with it, as has been true of Fnatic teams in the past, it's great. Synchronized shot calling. It was always the problem with Fnatic before, and if it's working right now, that's the plan. Excuse me.
Wild.
Delightful. They I think they end this week 7-2 unless they really choke a game out, which they're due for one. But like,
I think they're memeing themselves right up to the top. Like,
Adam's been good too.
yeah,
That should be acknowledged. Like,
Their one loss was when they tried doing the Olaf thing. So like, it's you just got to go with it,
well, like but here's the thing. Like, if you check the record, their two losses are to Mad Lions and Misfits. Like, they've lost to good teams and they've taken care of their business against everybody they're better than in theory. Like the surprises are that they beat the surprise in theory is that they beat G2, and the bigger surprise is that they beat Rogue. Like, them being Rogue's other loss is a very interesting part of this split, because that tiebreaker appears to be, like, if the top three stays where it is, having at least a partial tiebreaker over Rogue could be very relevant towards the end of the split.
Were they the team that beat the Fiddlesticks too? I'm trying to, because like I think they're the team that beat the Fiddlesticks. Inspired's been the only jungler that I'm aware of in the world playing a lot of Fiddlesticks right now and winning at it. Like a couple of the other EU junglers have tried and not had the same success. And like this gives me actually a huge amount of confidence in this roster that I didn't have last split, where it really feels like they actually have a deeper identity, and they're going to be a lot less fragile in a best of five with some of these strategies that they have on the table, and the fact that Inspired has non-meta picks that he can succeed on. Like that gives
Ironically,
this roster a lot.
Inspired played meta that game.
Oh, he did?
He was on Rumble that game.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
But
the loss was to the Fiddles loss was to G2.
okay.
But yeah, Inspired playing Rumble, Gragas, Rumble, Fiddles, Kindred is different than the rest of the world right now.
Yeah. Like that gives me a lot more confidence in this roster now that I'm seeing like a depth of champions and strategies. Like playing around Fiddlesticks and playing around Kindred are completely different comps, are completely different styles of how you approach the map. So them winning with this is a big deal.
Yep. Agreed. Okay. That's a nice tour around the three worlds. Do you guys have any picks that have caught your eye across the world? Anything you've liked, anything you've not liked?
well, I said what I didn't like.
Yeah.
I don't want the Jugger Olaf anymore.
You don't
Please
like
don't
Jugger
do that.
Olaf?
I don't like
Yeah, I get
it. When you could do Jugger Jinx, you could do Jugger Maw, like the actual ones, or you
Yep.
could just not do that and like play with the agency of Gwen, Lee Sin, Nocturne, Sejuani, like literally anything else. Can we just not? I don't want to see Olaf right now. It's not the time.
Fiddlesticks jungle is some big brain stuff.
I like
if
that
you have
shit.
if you have a jungler who actually knows what they're doing with vision on the map, like that's a pick to be on the lookout for because it's so much is about abusing map vision and about taking advantage and snowballing through jungle in ways that might not involve huge kill leads. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
I love Jungle Diana.
Yes, I
I
like
called
that.
that out 2 weeks ago, and now that it's getting more and more around the world, it's one of my favorite picks to watch in pro right now. It's fun. It's great for ganks. It's great for team fights. It's a different identity than a lot of junglers have had recently. She and Xin Zhao, I think, are such interesting pieces to add to the jungle meta because of how aggressive the ganks are, and her team fight presence is just monstrous, particularly when she's ahead. Like
She clicks on him.
the damage is nuts. So I have very much enjoyed the addition of her to the meta as much as I have anything.
Is it just me or is Diego dropping off? Is he like less?
He's getting banned a lot.
Yeah, so I can't tell if he's like getting found out and just like no, or are people I can't tell if it's
Like he's got a 50-50 win rate across the split. He's 46-46 across the big four. And he's been banned out 84 times, which is high but not the highest. So like I think what's clear is he's got a little bit of the Silas to him, which makes sense, right? You need a team comp that it works into, and you need a matchup that it works into. It's a situationally good pick, but that's good for pro play, right? Like if you have something that's not good all the time, but is good some of the time, that's where stuff should be, right? Like as opposed to like
This is
the
always good.
the Renekton, Nocturne, Akali, and Karma that are the top four bands so far this split. Like I forget which games I was watching last night. I think it was some I think it was LPL games that there was Renekton got through pick bans and everybody's like, well, let's see if it's as good as it was, and then it just dumps the game. Like it's too strong.
Oh, um, yeah, and a part of it's also that like NA has been going more to AD junglers, primarily NA, but like the other regions too, where it's like when you go to an AD jungler, you're less likely to play Viego.
Yeah. Or you played Jungle Viego. Like that's happened. It's been a
It
pick. It hasn't
it
been good.
has. It does not look very good. Like when SOFM got bodied with that week 1, you know it's a problem. You know, it's like maybe don't.
I'm trying to think what else I saw weird get flexed to jungle in a game this week. Because there's something weird that happened.
You're not just thinking jungle Lee Sin, so what else there?
It was flexed into
Jungle
jungle.
Gwen. Jungle Gwen.
It
Oh
was
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And it was okay.
That's what I was thinking. That was weird. Match list. Who did this? Oh yeah, it's lost all three games, but it was Acadian and Xerxes both tried it.
Yeah. And it's like an
They,
AP pick that you can take into the jungle.
let's just acknowledge that they both tried it against 100T.
Yeah, I don't know if
Which
that's
may
where
be
you
part
should
of
have
why
done
it's
that.
a
I don't know about that one, boys.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, if you're gonna get spicy memes, like just go all in, just pull something absolutely random that they don't know how to deal with, not something that like is really familiar. It's like, oh, that doesn't really belong there. She's not really getting the resources she wants, like a Rek'Sai. You pull out a Rek'Sai or something like the. I feel like the Rek'Sai could have that same success that the Vi had, where it's like, it's strong. It's not familiar and it's not gonna work all the time, but like I'm confused.
It's
Right,
less
Rex.
team fight oriented, so it wouldn't be a CLG pick. It would have to be somebody else.
Rek'Sai
But
has
yeah.
been played once this split in another game that was a bottom team losing to a top team. This time in the LPL.
It
Thunder
was
Talk.
it was probably the Rek'Sai one trick, right?
Xiaopeng
Which
for Thunder Talk.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a Rek'Sai one trick, so
That's
that,
the
that
one
makes
Rek'Sai pick.
sense. Yeah.
I like Rek'Sai. I want Rek'Sai back. Please give me Rek'Sai
Like
back,
I'm looking through the
Lawrence.
things that have been picked once in the top four leagues to see who's played it. Self-made being the only one who's played Evelyn and gotten the win on that is a fun
Oh yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
Redemption arc.
That was a stomp.
Yeah, the rest of the ones that have only been played once all lost their one game. The Eve did not lose its one game.
Yeah. Well, and Eve is a great pick for Vitality too. We didn't talk about Vitality, who after a slow start are really starting to shape things up. SLT is still a weird choice for a top laner for them, but like they have a lot of aggression. They have a lot of power picks in this meta with Lighter and Self-Made, and they can do
Speaking
some
of
really
players who are
nasty
noted for their
things.
assassins.
Right. Both of them. And so they
Yep.
have a lot of really nasty stuff they can do on the map.
Last champion thought, and then we're wrapping. Pour one out for old Tom Kench. I don't know when the last time we'll actually see him in pro play is, but I believe the Tom Kench rework is live now, so we are about done with seeing Tom Kench and his impact on the bot lane. We will see. Have you guys played any of the new Tom Kench, the big rework? And two, do you think it's still going to be present in pro play at all after the changes?
Not with everything else right now. I think there'd have to be substantial changes. If Senna was completely unplayable without him, maybe. But I think people have options to
It's
pair
been
with the
more
Senna now.
necessary for the Varus, I think, than anything else.
Right.
Like,
I think people are willing to give up the Varus.
People are willing to play the Enchantress more now for the protection instead of Kench
Yes.
already, I think, because they're getting ready for this.
I would not be surprised to see Tom Kent show up in a lane that's not support based off of the rework, where it'll be some random top lane pick nonsense. We'll see. Because like whenever they do
who's
these
gonna play
big
it? What?
reworks,
Who's gonna play it? Who's the top laner that's gonna pull out the Kench?
Fudge.
Disagree. Not with as good as
Disagree.
Lee's look. He's gonna play more. Like my dude is likes his Lee Sin and his Aurelia. He's not playing Kench. No.
it's a good question. I would have said Blippo, but Blippo's a jungler now. So maybe Blippo and jungle? Question mark?
I
I don't
do like the
know.
idea of a
He doesn't
Kench
have
jungle.
engage though, so maybe not Blippo.
Didn't they
Blippo
do it
needs
so
to
you
go
can
hand.
stun like a little bit faster with the right combo with the tongue slap and the range? You don't need terribly big engage.
I don't know. We'll see.
It just seems really
Impact.
yucky.
I'm gonna go with impact.
That would be rude.
I can see that. I can see that for sure. I'm trying to think who I'm thinking of. I have a specific team in mind here, and I don't remember who it is.
They haven't let Impact play Singed yet. I don't know why. They should let him play Singed.
I got. I don't know. I can't think of who it would be. Zhao Hu. I'm saying Zhao Hu. It's not a Zhao Hu pick at all, but I think it'd be really funny. All right. Speaking of playing games, what have you been playing, Steven?
I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog, which you should check out those videos. And me and Eric have been playing Donkey Kong Country, so you should check out those videos. There's some spicy stuff. There might be a new game coming up, but that's a secret. That's a secret game. Yeah, that's
Eric, what have you been playing besides the plugs?
Oh, well, I've been playing a non-zero amount of Nexus Blitz. I still enjoy playing random stuff in that, particularly Soraka. And then I've been trying to complete my like window pane for Teamfight Tactics, and I'm almost there for that.
I completed my window for Teamfight Tactics this week. What's your? We haven't talked TFT basically at all in this podcast ever. Eric, what comp are you running right now?
I'm mainly like trying to have enough health late game to get a Teemo and put lots of items on it.
I respect
That's
it.
it. That's my comp.
We are both dirty Hellion spammers. This is a thing that has been known and it has caused problems when we play games together. I have found great success with Nine Forgotten as well, which I know is pretty meta, but when you get the stuff together for it to work right, it just kind of clicks together. I had a almost perfect game last week playing Nine Forgotten when I got my stuff together well, and it was very fun to do.
Did you
So,
see my 9 Helion game?
yes, I watched your Nine Helion game on stream.
Yeah, that was so good. Ah,
That was bonkers. That was too much.
you're not supposed to be able to do that.
It's too many things.
it's forbidden
It's
tech.
too many things going right. There was 3 Hellion spats. It's so stupid. Anyway, that's enough of that. Steven, do the plug.
Buy the merch from the store at the Funky Store. It's funky.store. Go there and buy some shirts. They're nostalgic. Like the Nickelodeon, I mean, it's a splat. It's orange and it says nostalgia on it. You should buy that one.
Yeah, definitely not Nickelodeon at all.
Definitely not. No, there was no infringement here. There would
None.
never be that. But also like and subscribe to the channel and watch the other Let's Plays. They're fun. It's a great time.
And that's about it for us. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll be a couple weeks closer to um, having a clearer playoff picture. I'm interested to see how the 3 tiers of NA shake out, I think, as much as anything do, because you got your top 4, you got your 5, 6, 7, and then you got the bottom 3, one of which is going to be important. I think I'm most interested to see if any of the bottom 3 NA teams can figure it out moving forward, and then I'm interested to see Misfits games this week. Those are things I'm calling out as things to watch. Other things. Do you guys have any games you're particularly looking forward to and across the schedule next couple of weeks?
No. I don't know. I'm not. I want
TLC 9
Alfari
on
to.
Saturday, coward. You ready for TLC? You ready for TLC 9? Even this
They're
I
playing
will
time?
C9 and
cry.
100p.
I know. I'm not. We'll have Alfari back, I think, though. He said he's coming back on the 27th. Is that right? Yeah. So, uh, yeah, I don't think they're. I don't think Santorin's getting to play though. I still think he's sicky boy. So, um,
At least you get Fly for a cooldown lap on Sunday.
yeah, I'd like to end the week on a high note. So that'd be nice. I think we can take Cloud9. I think it would be dope AF to take 100 Thieves for no reason. I don't know. Like, I'm really confident in Armeo. I just like Alfari. I swear to God, like, play nice, man. Like, it's a team sport. Don't make it miserable for people. If you're having like personal problems, like, deal with that. All
Look,
good.
and here, here, here is my um thing for the week. EG plays the bottom three. I'm extremely ready for them to go 1-2 in these three games. Just, it's bad juju.
Drop a game.
I
Jizuke
don't, I
just
don't
runs it
care how
down
good
all
or
day.
bad either Impact or Jizuke have been. Like, Jizuke is running it down to one of, like, Jizuke is gonna run it down to play Olive, and they're gonna lose to Golden Guardians. I'm just so ready for that. Like, it's
Golden.
that's been this EG team. If they actually 3-0 this weekend like they should, I will be very, very happy and also very surprised. But they're playing the bottom three. They're a playoff team. They should 3-0 this weekend. They're not going to, and it's going to be funny. But I
I think I'm looking forward to the TSM IMT game this weekend. IMTs look really solid. I've been really impressed with what they've been doing on the map. So I'm curious to see how they can hold up against TSM, who, while they're like still top of the standings, have been kind of struggling inside some of these games. So maybe this will be a chance for Xerxes to get another win on another AP champion.
the other one that I will call out is Nongshim Damwon on Friday early morning. I think is actually going to be a really fun series because Nongshim have been really good and Damwon's still doing their weird thing that they're doing. And then also Sunday early morning, Genji Damwon is I don't think is going to go well for Damwon, but it's gonna be the biggest test they've had yet of if this weird roster can go well together. So it's another good week to watch Dom 1 games because these are probably the two hardest tests they've had with this roster. And I'm very interested to see how it goes, assuming they still play this adjusted, shifted roster they've been playing. So two really, really solid LCK games to catch live if you're crazy or catch the VODs of later. I think both will be well worth your time to see what's going on. So yeah, there's your plugs for the week. There's your plugs for the site. There's your plugs for the videos. We got your plugs all up in here. We'll be back in a couple of weeks to see how everything's broken down and see what new shenanigans are up to. New items, new picks, no more Kench. So much exciting to look at. So I'm David. That's Steven. That's Eric. This has been Reaction Time. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.